Hi, everyone, and welcome back to this week episode of Talk Football Live. I have my usual host in the house, Biadum, Charles, and Hayo. We're going to be looking at the coming fixtures for this weekend EPL games. And so, without much ado, we're going to go into the fixtures starting from Friday. We have Arsenal and Southampton. Hey, guys, I know last week was great. There are a lot of great matches played last week. Let's focus on what we have coming this coming weekend, starting with Arsenal Southampton. I'll go straight to you, Bialdo. Hey, what's your prediction on this game, Arsenal versus Southampton, and the scoreline, if you don't mind? Let's go.
Well, I would say this is a must-win game for them to. I mean, I don't know if it's a right word or a right statement to say to keep the hope alive because I don't know what hope is alive at this point. I think this is just to probably complete the season and ensure that you make the top four. Um,
Oh
I
no, that
think,
sounds so pessimistic. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just think the damage is done already, and I think it's just to wrap up this season and. Uh, Southampton should be on this game. It's an home game, and I think they should try to win it and kind of at least encourage the fans, give the fans what they deserve to witness an home game with a win. But I think it was a missed opportunity and it was a great loss. The West Ham game, and I don't know if that would go into the Southampton game in terms of morale or discouragement. But again, people believe that miracles still happen. I believe miracles still happen. But when I look into that Man City squad, I think the miracle might be Man City's. So and that's where I stand.
All right.
I
So
tried to get a motivation to actually come on this show tonight, but it's what it is. I'm probably going to be speaking less, and I will let Charles and I win. But I think it should be a win.
all right. So sound like Bjorn is pessimistic about the remaining games for Arsenal and the potential title race. Hey, Charles, these two teams have something they are fighting for. Arsenal has a title at stake. Southampton is still battling with relegation. Who do you think among these two teams are more motivated coming for this game?
Yes, I don't think I have the right to at this point. I feel like if I say anything, I
Speak.
don't. I smile. So I should predict in the audio. But
It doesn't
realistically,
look
like you
like it's
said,
gonna
I'm asking.
smile. Just shoot. Go ahead.
I know. Regardless of what happened with West Ham or whatever Arsenal is on, and I know win the title, Southampton is trying for relegation. I actually think Arsenal will bounce back in this game. They have a couple of
Hmm.
injuries right now to keep players like, and I think because even when they were in their full squad, so now that they're a little bit depleted, I think Arsenal will of that. Now, for West Ham game, the other called it was a tie, but either way, it felt like a loss. I understand. I actually think Arsenal will come back and for this game, and because it's the first game of the I actually believe it's a good way to start. Well, win well, then relax, and watch everyone else. With all that being said, I know Bjorn didn't give a number for his prediction, didn't give a goal. I would
Right.
say 2-0, 3-0. But I'm giving it to Arsenal.
What does that mean? No, you have to be specific. Sorry.
I'll say
2
two.
0 or 3 nil.
I'm
Okay. Charles called it
sorry.
2-0. I believe 2-0 Arsenal. That's what you meant, right? All right. Let's go to
Yes.
Ayo. Ayo, Southampton has lost the last three games. They didn't just lose, they didn't have a narrow loss. They lost it big time, right? And now,
Yep.
you saw what happened with West Ham. West Ham was also a team fighting relegation, but when it came to Arsenal, they fought and they had a draw. Do you think we can expect Southampton to do anything against Arsenal to force a draw or probably win the game?
So
Are you frozen?
I am expecting an Arsenal win, and I'm an. Oh, I'm here. You guys hear me?
Yes.
You guys hear me?
Go ahead.
I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
an optimist. I think this is a game that Arsenal should win confidently and easily. As Charles rightly mentioned, they are, missing injuries. They're missing some key players. Jay Adams is out. Salisu is out, and Maitland Niles, who has been playing at right back for them, is unavailable to face Arsenal because Arsenal is his parent club. Yes, while I know it was disappointing for us to drop points against Liverpool and then against West Ham, what is important to note is that it is not over, right? Arsenal are still in control of their destiny. What we're seeing this season is that, Man City has raised the bar for winning the English Premier League. You have to be consistent throughout the entire season. Yeah, Arsenal has 74 points at the moment. In the era of Wenger and Ferguson, in the 2000s, it was very common to see a team win the league with 76, 78,
That's
82
right.
points, maybe 86. Getting to 90 points was pretty much unheard of during those times.
Yep.
But now that's the standard. If you're not hitting 90 points, you basically have no chance to win the title. And that's the standard that City have set. Now, is Arsenal able to keep up that momentum? We've shown over the last few games, over the course of the season, that they've been consistent enough. They've dropped points maybe in some key moments that would have maintained the advantage that they've built up over the season. But I believe optimistically, things are still good. I'm expecting a 3-0 win against Southampton. Yep.
A 3-0 win. That's coming from an Arsenal fan. Ayo. Hey, Bialdo, do you want to go back and say a quick prediction, or you're not doing that?
I think I predicted. I just didn't have his call, and I just wanted to correct something that Charles mentioned. I don't think I said they're not going to bounce back. I think if you listened well to what I explained, I think they will win Southampton, but what I'm trying to tell you is that is not enough anymore. It's too late. That's the point I'm trying to make to you.
Okay.
Whether they beat Southampton 7-0, 10-0, I don't care. Right? It doesn't.
Too late.
I think, again, that's me, right? People might say it's too early.
Yeah.
But remember, if you go back to my tapes, right, to the tapes that we had prior to now, I actually called out when they lost the league. I think they lost at Emirates to City.
Okay.
I think it's important to note though that Arsenal has been unbeaten since that game. They won 7 games straight after that game.
Was the defining ball, but we showed. Hold on. Let me finish. They played well, but they showed a lack of experience and maturity that a champion should show. I called that out, but as a fan, I stayed positive, which is the right thing to do. But if you go back and listen very well, I did call that point the defining moment that will flip the opportunity to City. But they continue to win, which is great. Liverpool was a great test. I still stayed positive after that. If you remember, I stayed positive after the Liverpool draw because that game could have easily been lost. And I thought that was a great chance for us to still hope that miracles happen, that this thing maybe was destined for us. But I think West Ham game was totally unacceptable. I've known Ayo for years. He's my friend, he's my brother. I like him as a fan as well. Arsenal fan, very committed. But I also know that Ayo can keep the truth to himself and stay positive. So I know that.
Which is good.
He says this stuff, which is good. When he says this stuff, I can tell you what is on his mind. I'm not going to say it out. He's just trying to be positive. But he knows the truth in his heart. You don't mess with City at this stage. That's the truth. You don't mess with City at this stage.
So
we all saw the Champions League.
We need to move on.
For me, they can win Southampton. I don't care whether it's 10-0, whether it's 13-0, whether it's 14-0. But I think it's over. And I think it's
all
over.
right. Thank you, Biadon. And I think I must say something real quick. Man City is the champion, right? They have the championship DNA. When you meet them at this last minute of title race, good luck to you on that because they fire with all cylinders. That's all I would say. So I think for all Arsenal fans out there, let's just thank God for where we are. We are not we're not fighting for fourth place right now. We're actually in contention for the title race. That's enough consolation to start with. Now we'll see how this goes. We still have like 5, 6 games to go. It can tilt anywhere. So let's move on. Fulham, Leeds United. All right. So these two teams, they have history, right? They've met many times at the championship level, and now they are meeting again. This year alone, they've met twice, and one time Leeds won through a penalty that was during the FA Cup, and now they lost again. Leeds won the first leg. What do you expect to see here, Charles, between these two teams? Quick, and I want you to hear your scoreline prediction for the scoreline.
Real quick, not going to take two because I think for after losing me, they've been here. And I think Leeds have been stepping up. I don't know. I think they're still in relegation fight, or maybe they're out of it. I'm not really, but I've seen an upset here. Of course, based on the table, is if Leeds beats Fulham. So I'm calling it 2-1 win for Leeds. And their players are coming back to form. The team is beginning to perform well. Aris saying they're all basically performing well as a team this season, and they're trying to escape relegation, so it makes sense that they're performing that way. Fulham, on the other hand, as I said, although they are still trying to hit for European sports, so I'm giving that to Leeds, a 2-1 win for Leeds.
2-1 win for Leeds. Okay. Hey, what's your take on this? Aya, quick one from you.
Yeah, I think we might see, as Charles is calling it, an upset as well. Leeds have been terrible, to be fair, over the last two games. They've lost by an aggregate of 11-2. They conceded 6 against Liverpool, and in the match before that, they conceded 5 goals as well against Palace. But the key thing for them is they have a lot of key players back, so I think they might have something in this game. They're up for the fight. Fulham are battling for European places, but Leeds have it all to do. So let's see how it goes. I'm expecting the Leeds, and I'll say 2-1.
All right, thank you. I know Leeds has just 2 points over relegation, so let's see how they're able to fight for their destiny this weekend. Brentford, Aston Villa, Biodome. I know Aston Villa, your favorite manager in the past, Emery, has done so great to turn around the destiny of Aston Villa. Brentford, on the other hand, they started well, but they've lost the last 3 games. What do you think we should expect this weekend? Shoot. Okay, you're on mute. If we can hear you.
Can you hear me now? I'm sorry about that.
Yes.
Villa has really surprised me. If you guys remember the last time we were here, I don't remember, but I think almost all of us predicted a Newcastle win over Villa, right? I think maybe somebody predicted Aston Villa was going to win.
Akitayo predicted Villa win.
Predicted that, okay, Aston Villa was going to win. So it was a shock, right? It was a shock to see. And not that they just won, they played well, right? They really played well, way better than Newcastle. So that kind of made me more scared for Villa. I'm glad we beat them home and away, even with Emery. So that's great. I don't care anymore. We've gone past Villa. So having said that, I think Villa is going to go to Brentford and looking for a win. And I think they can get it. I mean, this is a team sitting in 6th position right now.
Right.
What would take them to continue, to win games and maybe see if we can make it to 5th? And maybe once, Tottenham mess up or somebody messes up and they climb to 4th, it's a good aspiration. So
that's right.
I think it might be an Aston Villa win. I think they might win 3-2.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Bialdo. So Aston Villa has 50 points. They are just, 6 points behind the 4th place, which is Newcastle, but with 1 game in hand. Ayo, do you think it's worth, or should we expect a fight for top 4 for Aston Villa against Brentford?
I think top 4 is a little beyond Aston Villa and Emery's reach, but I must say I am impressed. I broke down, last time we spent a lot of time analyzing Aston Villa and Newcastle. And even though one key thing that I pointed out was that they were on a run of 4 games and having considered only 1 in that stretch, they've now extended it to 5 games played and considered only 1. And they're scoring goals for fun. They've scored so many goals during that 5-game stretch and considered only 1 time. And I think that might continue against Brentford this weekend as well. I wouldn't want to be Brentford facing this Villa team at this time.
All right, thank you. What's your scoreline prediction, Ayo?
3-1. 3-1 to Villa.
3-1 Aston Villa. Oh wow. Great. All right, let's move on to Crystal Palace Everton. Now it does look like Crystal Palace just reincarnated from dead. They were awful, and right now they are playing some great soccer. Their first leg they lost 3-0 to Everton. Hey, Charles, what should we expect from Crystal Palace? They are playing at home this weekend.
Yes, I expect their momentum to continue. They lost three feels like ages ago. Like you
Right.
said, yeah, Resurrected Sin is doing some fantastic job. And I expect them to continue. Although Everton is still dragging with the whole relegation issue, and I don't expect them to go to relegate because I think Sean Dyche is going to keep them up. I think this is a game. This is one game that's going to really test them. Yeah, with the win and where Everton is fighting for relegation, I'm going to call a tie on this one.
A tie.
Even though both of them a tie, yeah. Because I think they're both having good momentum. So with that one, they're both going to try not to lose and still get at least a point from this. So 1-1.
Just to let you know, I'm going to make my own first prediction here. I see a Crystal Palace win over Everton 2-0.
That's an
Crystal
easy
Palace,
call.
Yeah, I'm making my own call. The first call for tonight. Everton is tied on point with the next team, which is Nottingham Forest, fighting relegation. So they're currently standing at number 17, 27 point minus 22 goal difference. I think Crystal Palace has everything going on for them right now. I think it's a 2-0 win over Everton. Well, okay, let's move on to the next game. Leicester City versus Wolves. We saw Leicester City has joined the group of teams that fired manager lately. Beyond, should we expect anything for Leicester City before the end of the season? Are they going to demolish Wolves, or they're just going to keep struggling?
I don't think they have a choice to go all out there and get a win. I think it's things have gotten really bad for Leicester. They've appointed new managers and of course it's going to take them a while. But I just don't I don't want to dream of a Leicester team playing in getting relegated. It's just unimaginable, right?
But it was like that few years ago before they got promoted, right?
Yeah. But I mean, this is a team that has produced great players. I'm just gonna feel bad for them going down, to be honest. So I hope that this last few games will take them out of relegation. It's really bad right now. But I think Wolves is a great team, right? But they can beat Wolves, honestly. I think they can beat Wolves. And I'm hoping to see that result this weekend. I think I will give Leicester City a 3-1 win over Wolves.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. I want us to jump quick one to the most let me say the team with the most recent form. Liverpool versus Forest. I need someone to break this down. And I don't know who else I can call more than Ayo. Ayo, break this down for us. Should we expect Liverpool to push for like top 5 to go to Europe next year? Or what do you think is their strategy right now?
So just like Leeds, Liverpool have gotten a lot of their players back. We've talked about how they have so much quality up front and they've been dealing with a lot of injuries up front. Yes, they lost money, but they have the likes of Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, Darwin Núñez, and all those three. They've all struggled with injuries at some point. They've all been out. They've had to rely a lot on Salah, and if people figure out Salah, then they're not really clicking. Gakpo took some time to adjust to the league. We can see he's starting to find his feet now. So that's the positive that Liverpool have going for them. I talked about it when they played in the last game against Leeds, the quality that they could bring off the bench with Luis Diaz back. They could bring in Luis Diaz, they could bring in Núñez, they could bring in Firmino. I mean, these are players who would start at a lot of Premiership clubs. Forest, meanwhile, are struggling. They lost their last game to Manchester United 2-0. Before that, it was Aston Villa 2-0. Before that, it was Leeds 2-1. So Forest, even though they managed to climb out of those relegation spots briefly, they are now back in a bad run of form. And I think this is probably a bad time for them to be going to Anfield. I
Oh
expect a
wow.
easy win for Liverpool again in this game.
Score line, please.
3-0.
3-0. Okay, just to let
3-0.
everybody know, Forest won the first leg 1-0. They won over Liverpool at home. All
Yep.
right. Now,
Taiwanese, who used to play for them. Yep.
yeah, that's right. Okay, so we're gonna have some spectacular games on Sunday. Let me start with the first one. Bournemouth will be hosting West Ham. And with the way West Ham played against Arsenal, should we expect them to bring that kind of level of form or confidence when they travel to meet the Bournemouth? Charles, do you have any take on this?
Yeah, I do. And the answer to that question is yes. Because of the way they played against us today in the Europa League, West Ham
Right.
seems to be in review. They won today 4-0. I mean 4-1. I can
4-1
recall now.
coming from back, yes.
Yes. Now the other part is Bournemouth and West Ham is 14. West Ham is 15. So both also drag themselves as far away from relegation as possible. I think West Ham, to answer your question, yes, West Ham will take the fight to Bournemouth. Let's say a 3-1 win. Even if I'm not choosing the number yet. Just give me a minute. I also think Moyes has out of his players. Hell, his attacking players. At some point, used to they be on what's his name now? Antonio. Jared Bowen. I think this time around, I think they are beginning to, not one person can carry a team. Everyone can. Declan Rice on the other hand is on the form of his life. So I think, and also because they're fighting relegation. Remember, they're fighting relegation, and when they tend to wake up more. And of course, with the experience of their coach, 2-1 win for West Ham. Bournemouth also, playing. I think they have that killer factor that will take them above West Ham.
Oh, 2-1 West Ham. Last time the ball met, it
and
was
just
2-0.
drop one more thing. Just to drop one more thing
Okay.
in. Going back to Liverpool, that one. Liverpool, sometimes they do the backwards. I wouldn't be surprised if there's an upset in this game away from Liverpool. Score line.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one. That's how I wanted to say it. Similar score.
Oh my God.
At Anfield.
Forest.
Please. Oh my God, that's a big one. So Liverpool can, drop any point. Well, we shall see. I find that very. If that happens, then Klopp can as well just resign. That's all I'll say about that. All right, let's move on to the biggest game for this weekend, Newcastle Spurs. Just to let everybody know, just a few weeks ago, we're calling Newcastle for top 4. And as it stands right now, even they're still at that number 4 position, it's very shaky. Yeah. We have Aston Villa knocking on the door. Tottenham actually head-to-head with them in a way, but they have one game at hand. So let's break this down a little bit. Newcastle is going to be at home. We know them with their strong defense, but as you can see, the last few games, the defense hasn't really carried them like they used to. Biodun, I'm going to call you for this. Can you break down what we should expect from Newcastle and Spurs? Don't forget, Spurs has just suffered a lot of a manager. Newcastle seems to be a little bit, consistent, except for the defense that's shaking in recent time. What should we expect, Biodun?
I think this is going to be a Newcastle that will be back with some wounds that Spurs might have actually suffer for this. So let me start by saying I think Newcastle is going to win. They're going to beat Spurs. It might be 2-1. They were really disappointing last weekend. So I expect them to come back and show some will to make the top 4. Right now, they have 3 points ahead of Spurs, right? And they have a game in hand. It will be a calamity if Newcastle doesn't make top 4 at the end of the season, right? I just think it will be. So they have to find a way to get back into top 4 and see if they can beat even Manchester United to top 3. right? And I think that
Thank
would
you.
be that's if I were Eddie out, that's what I'm probably going to be telling him. Sports is not doing great. They're just trying to make it up. So I think it should be an easier game for Newcastle. The
All right.
defense made a lot of errors, and it wasn't the Newcastle that we know. So I expect them to come back,
Yeah.
demonstrate that willingness, play that compact defense this time around. They have quality players. I just can't explain what went wrong last weekend. It's the same quality players, and I think they can deliver. Gimares, Jolinton, those guys have the work rate to lift the team, and I think they should be able to come back with that confidence and make things happen. I think Newcastle should win 2-1.
Great, great. So, Hayo, I heard what Bjorn said. He called it a calamity if Newcastle doesn't win this game. Let me tell you what the calamity I think will be. If they win this game, that means they win both away and home for this season over Sport. That has not happened in many, many years, just to let you know. So let's go straight to you, Ayo. If this happens, like I say, it's going to be the greatest calamity for Sport this season. What should we expect? I mean, these two guys are really fighting for top four position. They both want to play in Champions League. But again, the reality is it doesn't look great for Spurs right now. So what should we expect? Should we expect Spurs to bounce back and kind of revenge or what happened to them back in their first leg at home?
Well, so regarding what you said about Newcastle, this is also not the Newcastle of years gone by. This is a Newcastle that is backed by rich owners. They've spent
Right.
low key, they've spent quite a bit bringing in players.
Not as much as Chelsea, though. Just by the
not as
way.
much as Chelsea,
You
but they have spent.
just had to say it.
I couldn't help myself. Sorry.
I see.
And I gave Eddie Howe a lot of praise in the last week where we talked about the run of form, how he managed to turn things around, and I think that Aston Villa loss was a blip. Now we're coming up against a Spurs team that is very shaky on form, and I think Newcastle are going to smell blood. I expected Eddie Howe to
Wow.
have drilled it into the boys. What is at stake here? This is Champions League. This is a direct competitor, and this is potentially 6-pointer, right, for both teams. So I expect Newcastle will win this. They're going to be at St. James's Park. I'm happy for Newcastle fans that they're able to enjoy, a team that is deserving of the fan base that they have. St. James's Park is a 50,000 seater or 56,000, I believe. They have a very supportive fan base. They've gone down, come back up, and those fans have stuck with them. And now they're enjoying a team that is delivering and is, pushing for Champions League football next season, which will be very befitting of St. James's Park. I see a 3-1 win for Spurs.
3-1
3-1.
Newcastle win, right? Oh my
Yeah,
God. That's
Daniel Levy mentioned this past week that Harry Kane, should stay at Spurs and he can win trophies at Spurs. Unfortunately, I don't see that happening. I would love if he would come
What
to Arsenal.
trophies?
But yeah,
What
I think
trophies was it talking about?
I'm not sure. I don't know if there's a St. Tottenham
You'd have to ask that
trophy that
Daniel Levy.
there's a St. Tottenham's trophy that is held at the end of every season. Maybe that's what he's referring to. But he's breaking records at Spurs, so
Yeah,
maybe
maybe
time for
Mets
him to
records,
let go
not trophies.
of the personal records and then actually go for a cup.
So
Anyway,
3-1 win for Newcastle. Thank you, Ayo. Charles, I need you to bring it to this conversation right now. So I just checked right now. Newcastle hasn't defeated Tottenham home and away in the same season in a very long. I checked the last 10 years, that has not happened. Okay. Should we expect that to happen now this weekend? That's number one. Then number two, I'm gonna talk to you because I'm a Chelsea fan. How much can money carry a team? Just learning from what we've seen from Newcastle right now, how far can your money take you? Just a quick answer from you, Charles.
Money can take you pretty far if you know how to spend it and manage it well. Let's put Chelsea aside. Chelsea, like the keyword there was manage. After spending so much money, we haven't gotten a manager. So until we do that, case to the side.
I thought you have Lampard.
Talking about
I thought so too.
I thought you have Lampard. He's a manager.
no.
That's what I thought too.
Let's Let's not do
Okay,
that. Let's not do
go
that.
ahead,
He's not bad.
Charles.
He's a wonderful footballer. Now,
Ex-footballer.
talking about Newcastle, talked about it's been a while. They haven't won. Well, something is about to give way, right? Is it? So I actually think this is Newcastle's day. Statement, whenever it happens, I always say I really agree with Biodo, but and yeah, it's not to do. I think I'm gonna take his prediction word for word, everything he said. He's going for Newcastle. And I think this is Newcastle will smell blood, like
Oh
as was
wow,
mentioned. And Spurs are
blood everywhere.
exactly. Spurs are lacking the same thing that Spurs are like Chelsea right now. They don't have a manager.
Hmm.
The truth about it is Spurs, they have the players, and there's something missing in the Tottenham ranks, which is something Conte called out when it was there. Like these guys, it's like they're not used to winning. They don't know what they're not as hungry as winners should be.
It's,
And I think they still have that mentality, and I think that's gonna show, and it's gonna keep showing. So, as I said, I expect Newcastle to win. I'm sticking with Biodo's prediction of and
2-1 win.
I expect Newcastle to make it for as someone mentioned.
Oh wow. Thank you, Charles. All
Yeah,
right, so it does look at this point that I'm going to say something real quick. So whatever Conte said about Tottenham, I think he was just marketing himself. I'm done here. I need another club. I don't believe what is said in line with what is happening with Tottenham. I know they have their own issues, but it's the role of a manager to motivate your team to be hungry for more. I think it's the role of a manager. So if he's calling them out on that, I think it's also indirectly calling himself his failure out. But that's aside. Now, my own take on this, I think Newcastle will win that game, and it's probably going to be 1-0 win. I don't see Newcastle scoring 3 goals. Why? Because I don't think they have the best of the best scorers right now. They have very good players, but their strength lies in the defense. I haven't said that. I think that will be the end of our show for this weekend. Um, I want you all watching, please like, subscribe, and share. We'll be back again next week or during the week to share with you the game week 33 games.
yeah.
Stay tuned and we'll catch you.
See you guys. Thank you.